Kirby today.
Indeed. Second floor.
Second floor.
It's old school here.
It's Ken's cutting shop.
It's old school.
So the Ninja Assassin's been in the house today.
Even the stairway you got to climb to get up here is old school.
You know,
it reminds me of that stairway in that Blues Brothers movie when Belushi's got that desk. The penguin takes a couple of shots and he goes down. Anyway.
I got a tweet from somebody, and it's at Josh Ennis Radio. I got a tweet from someone that said, do they need a Latino to cut hair at Ken's Cutting Shop? Do we need a Latino? I mean, so, hey, they said, listen. So whoever it was that tweeted me, they're down for it. They need anybody over here. They'll take them. So Wade Phillips just kind of walked in, and the building just sort of goes quiet.
Well, tell the truth. You were listening on the radio, right?
I was. I sure was.
Awesome.
I was at a charity golf event in the Woodlands, and pretty long drive back, so enjoyed listening to you guys. I think there's a ninja still here somewhere. He hides sometimes. So I heard Antonio and the Star, who I call him the Star. Les Star I think he's going to be a really good player. So I really like him.
So we should expect him to be on the team possibly this fall.
He was a good-looking receiver last year. Just on the other side of the ball. But he really works hard, and he worked hard this whole season. It's hard to do when you're injured and you're not part of the team and you can't practice with the team, but you can go to meetings and work out and do all those things. And he did a great job of that.
Well, we take it as a very high compliment that as you're out and about, you're actually listening to our show in your car. That's a very cool thing. So I have to ask you, as you've been driving around and listening to this show from time to time, have you heard Josh imitate you?
I haven't heard it yet, but I'm sure he can do it.
Wade, it's not very good, Wade. You just kind of have to talk kind of low, a little bit like that.
Yeah, you do.
It's not very good.
So that type of stuff, you roll with the punches on that, right? That doesn't rub you the wrong way?
It's a form of compliment, right?
Exactly. There you go.
The compliment is that when you walk in here, this place literally goes quiet. Wade is here. And when you go from your last year in Dallas and the team starts 1-7 and you're out of a job there, and that's a tough market there. It's really, it's a big time. It's different than it is here. I'd say that. It's a little bit faster paced there, and they expect Super Bowl every year. But tell us the difference in the way you felt there to now. You might not know it, but you're a rock star here. You are a star in this town because of what you've been able to do with the defense. Just talk about the differing feelings between there and here.
Well, this is home. When I came in here, everybody said, hey, this guy's really going to help us. All the positive. Everywhere else I've been, and I had to prove myself everywhere you go, no matter what. But everywhere else I've been as a head coach or even as a coordinator, they say, well, what's this guy going to do? Or he might do it, he might not. I came in here and everybody said, hey, this guy's going to help us right now. It's just a positive attitude. Some of it comes from my dad. Some of it comes, from me being here and my experience in the league and so forth, but it's just a different feeling altogether.
Do you have a desire to be a head coach again?
I enjoyed being a head coach. I still feel like I did well as a head coach. I still have one of the winningest records in the league. So, at this point, I'm really happy being here. They've been great to me here, and this has been, like you say, it's, being here, I'm more popular here than anywhere I've ever been. And I thought I did a good job in a lot of places.
Well, a lot of people in this community care about you. How you doing? You were laid up for a little bit late in the season.
Right. Yeah. Physically, I'm back to normal, and I feel good now. In fact, I just went to the doctor for my checkup yesterday, and they said everything was perfect, so I really feel well.
Well, you mentioned Houston being home, and I want to get a comment from you if you don't mind, because part of, you're a Houston Cougar as well. You spent time on the Oiler coaching staff. The Astrodome, I'm sure, holds a lot of great memories for you. The folks at Reliant Park announced today that on Wednesday they're going to unveil the final master plan for what they've decided, what they will do moving ahead with the Astrodome. How important is that building to Houston, in your opinion?
Well, it was. For us that were here, it was the eighth wonder of the world. It was, at the time, certainly, everybody was in awe of it. So that's what it means a lot to Houston that way, I think.
Yeah, it'd be a shame if it went away completely. I think a lot of us who've been in Houston a while would love to see it preserved, at least to some degree.
Right. Well, those memories of coming back from Pittsburgh and coming into coming into the stadium on those buses with players crying and the crowd cheering like crazy for a team that just lost the AFC Championship. Was always, I still get chills about it.
It's an amazing thing, really, because as you mentioned, that was not a victorious team, but
right.
This town came out in droves to show its appreciation.
Yeah, it's a great football town.
And we were talking a second ago about whether or not you'd be a head coach again, but as far as being a coordinator, and you can go for a long time still. I mean, obviously what you're doing works. If you're going to stay a coordinator, do you want to be here as long as they'll keep you here?
Well, sure.
I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah, as long as they don't run me off. But
I mean, let's just put it this way, because people want to know. The fear is Wade has another successful season. Some team picks up a phone and says, Wade, let's give it one more go. But as long as it's not a head coaching job, is this the place you want to be?
I wouldn't be anywhere else but here as a coordinator, and I won't be.
I mean, that's a great thing for people to hear. How about that, guys? I mean, this guy, you got the number 2 defense in the league, but I know that's not good enough for you. You want to be number 1. You draft Whitney Merciless. You guys add a few more defensive pieces, not as many as last draft, but Merciless. Tell us about him and what he's going to be able to do for you guys.
He's a wonderful athlete. You know, we've been working with the rookies as well as the veterans here the last 3 weeks. So, but he's a wonderful athlete. He can really run. He's one of those guys that you say, hey, we need you to, rush the passer this way or do this this way, and he can do it right then. I mean, it's boom, he can do it. So. I expect great things from him.
Are there things you're looking to do with this defense in year 2 that you weren't able to do in year 1?
Oh, I think so. I mean, of course, confidence is big. I mean, when we played as well as we did, and then especially against Baltimore, even though we lost, we played exceptionally well. And our young guys played really well also. And we have good leadership on defense. So, I feel good about where we are. I think we'll be good for a long time.
How good do you think J.J. Watt's going to be?
He's outstanding. I compared him to Howie Long at the end of the year. I mean, the guy's that good. He's a tremendous player. The last game of the year against Baltimore, he had 12 tackles. He had 3 tackles for a loss and 2.5 sacks in the ball game. I mean, those numbers are, those are Pro Bowl numbers.
Well, when you compare a guy with 1 year in the league to a Hall of Famer, do you worry at all that puts a real weight on him in terms of expectations?
No, because just like I think Antonio said it. I mean, our expectations when we came in, all our goals, we set goals every year, and all the goals we put in last year were all in the top 5 of the league. Now that sounds crazy, but when we came in, we felt like we could pass defense, run defense, total defense, interceptions, fumbles, the whole thing. We expect that here, and I don't think it puts any pressure on the guy. The guy's going to work hard and be a great player.
Well, some people I know doubted you'd go to top 5.
I did. I mean, I acknowledge this. I mean, you remember the stuff with Pastorini.
You know about the head shaving?
Well, I mean, but think about this. Tell me, was it ridiculous? Now, it wasn't a slight against you so much as that team was 32nd in defense. So to hear Pastorini say that could be the number 1 defense in the league, well, sure, I thought it was crazy. Yeah. And that's why I said top 5, I'll shave my head. Well, you guys were number 2, and I shaved my head. So I paid that off, though.
Yeah, we went New Orleans. We went from last in the league. They were wearing sacks over their head to 11th the first year with 5 rookies starting. So we've had some good years, and probably one of the best ones was when we were at San Diego. We had the first pick in the draft. We were 4-12 when I went there, and we went 12-4 the first year. So.
You are such a subtle badass. Yeah. You really are. Because you're looking at, explain, we're looking at each other eye to eye, and you've got this look about you like, well, Josh, I'm not going to have any facial expression, but I'm going to tell you how badass I've been in all these other places. And that's what Antonio said when we had him in here. He said, here's one thing about Wade. He's got this, he's kind of this happy-go-lucky type, outer, that's what people see. But you get him behind closed doors, he'll pretty much, if he doesn't say it, he'll let you know in some other way how badass his defense is.
Well, yeah, I believe in being honest with people, and like I say, setting high goals rather than, middle of the pack goals from a team that was 30th the year before. We set high goals, and we expected to do that, or at least we hoped to do that, I guess you'd start with. But we had guys like Antonio. Antonio's, he's a character, but he's really a good football player. He's an outstanding, in the Pro Bowl. We had him in the Pro Bowl this year. We coached the Pro Bowl, and he belongs there. So we had those kind of guys on our team. It's still the players and how they play, and we've got an outstanding group.
Well, I mean, your track record obviously speaks for itself, and you have been Mr. Fix-It. You have been the guy when you get there, the first year you're there, things improve dramatically. There's a lot of guys in your business that would like to be able to do that. Can you shed any light on why it seems you're better at it than all these other guys in terms of that immediate impact?
Experience. I've done it a lot of times. I've been in that situation, quite a few times where we come in. Usually that's when I come in, is because they didn't do well defensively the year before, and they let the defensive coordinator go, and so I come in, and it's usually something new. Players, you got to get them to believe in what you're doing. It's easier now that I've done it a lot of times, that when I come in, like the players think, they think he's going to do it because he's got a background, so that helps.
What are some of the most valuable things that your father's passed on to you that you've been able to utilize as a coach?
Oh gosh, I mean, being my dad too, and a coach that I admired. Most of the things I do are from him. From his philosophy. It's really treat men like men. I mean, that's what it comes down to, is treat them like men. Tell them, be honest with them, and tell them, hey, you need to do this better, or you're not doing that well enough. And that's not badass or anything. It's being honest with guys, and I think they appreciate that.
Can you hang out with us for a little while longer while you're hanging out?
Yeah, I got to get a fade, right?
Yeah, well, you do. Wade needs a fade. Hashtag Wade needs a fade.
Right here at Ken's, baby.
All right, so Wade's going to hang out one more segment because we got to talk about Fan Fest, which Wade is going to be part of.
Yes, we do.
On June 10th.
Absolutely.
Also about just what's going on with the Saints and the Bounties and how that affects his coaching, and maybe if that played a factor or a role in why the team didn't want to be on Hard Knocks with the cameras and all the access. So it's J&R. Stay there. Hi, kids. What are you doing this weekend? Are you going out? You going to the bars? You going to the clubs? You going to watch sports? Whether you're going to an event or you're watching an event on TV, all that stuff you're going to do this weekend. If you're going to be out looking to have a good time with your buds, there's no better way to have a good time with your buds than a Miller Lite. And there's the new Punch Top can from my friends at Miller Lite. And here's what this Punch Top can is. There's a little tab on the top of the can, and you can punch it. I've got a Sharpie in my hand right now. I could punch it with that. I could punch it with a golf tee. I could punch it with anything I've got. I did it on the golf course a few weeks ago. You can do all of this and just tap it, and you get a smoother, cleaner, crisper, better pour, right? And when you think of Miller Lite, it's about hanging out with your buds anyway. You're going to be on the golf course this weekend. You're going to play in your softball league, whatever it is. Make sure you've got Miller Lite with you for that. Baseball's on TV this weekend. Basketball's on TV this weekend. Hockey's on TV this weekend. Make sure you've got Miller Lite. And the Punch Top can's going to have that smoother, cleaner pour for you. So when you've got Miller Lite and you're having a great weekend with your buddies, keep in mind it's Miller time.
Hi, I'm Howie Bentley, owner of the all-new Classic Auto Group in Galveston and sister store to Classic Chevrolet in Sugar Land. We're very excited to bring the classic way of doing business to Galveston and look forward to showing you why we say at Classic Galveston, you can relax and enjoy the difference. I'm here every day and want to earn your trust one customer at a time. So to prove it, we're launching our opening with a huge red tag sale. We've drastically discounted the price of over 400 new Chevys, Fords, Buicks, GMCs, Cadillacs, Toyotas, Scions, and Hondas. Each and every vehicle is clearly marked with rock-bottom sale prices right on the windshield. It's the easiest way to buy a car because there's no negotiation necessary. I invite you to compare our red tag sale price with the sticker and see the savings for yourself. Up front and easy. That's the classic way of doing business. ClassicGalveston.com.
Classic Galveston. Relax, enjoy the difference.
There's no other season quite like spring to get us focused on our annual rituals, like getting our lawns in shape or just finishing up the school year. At Berkeley Eye Center, we know how important it is to stay focused on life. For more than 50 years, we've helped protect, preserve, and restore the gift of sight for people across Texas. This spring, stay focused on what really matters by trusting your vision to the professionals at Berkeley Eye Center. Call us today at 713-526-EYES.
At Berkeley Eye Center, our spring LASIK celebration is the perfect time to bring your world back into focus. And for people who thought they couldn't afford LASIK at Berkeley Eye Center, our interest-free financing and low monthly payment plans can turn your LASIK dreams into reality. Call Berkeley Eye Center at 713-526-EYES for your free LASIK appointment and affordable payment plan to fit your budget. That's 713-526-EYES or online at berkeleyeye.com.
Vandermeer and Lopez, Mad Radio, J&R, and the Odd Couple. Proud to be Houston's sports leader. We are Sports Radio 610. Welcome back to the #1 afternoon sports talk show in Houston. It's J&R on your sports leader, Sports Radio 610.
Ken's Cutting Shop, that's where we are today. Had a busy day with Kareem Jackson, with Antonio Smith. Well, I heard he's going to make his way back up here to hang out with Wade in a little bit. So Coach,
Kenny Davidson, Eddie Robinson.
I mean, there were a lot of people here today.
Yep.
Les Stargene. But, yesterday we find out that the team turns down the opportunity to be on Hard Knocks. You were on that at one point, right, when you were with the Cowboys?
Right.
Paint a picture for us, because Mike Shanahan yesterday was quoted as saying he feels that the coaches can't be themselves in that setting. Did you ever feel that way?
Oh, not really. I mean, the cameras are placed in a room like this room right here, and you really, after a while, you don't even know they're there.
And some of them are like hidden up in the sky.
Those you don't see, and you're pretty much yourself. I don't know if everybody's honest all the time when the cameras fall on them everywhere they go, but we tried to have fun with it, and I thought we did.
Do you think it hurt the team to be part of that?
Well, I think different teams are different, certainly. I mean, I can understand here that this team's a little different than Dallas, and Dallas is for promotional stuff too. I mean, that's big in what they do.
Yeah, and they are the #1 brand in the NFL, and really they didn't even have to do a show like that to help their brand because they are the #1 brand in the league.
Well, it always helps, though. I mean, I think if you're up there like that, Jerry does a good job of keeping them in the limelight.
Sure,
and Josh was not. I'm not going to say I was upset, but I was disappointed that Bob McNair turned it down. I thought it was a great opportunity for the franchise to really showcase itself nationally.
Well, I think we have 5 games this year on prime time, so I think
was the point
I think
made.
people will see us, enough, and you're on Thanksgiving Day and those kind of things. We can make a name for ourselves.
And it's not like the Cowboys or the Steelers or the Patriots became these big brands because they were, they were a reality show.
But you don't get to know the individuals involved by being on national TV 5 times like you do by being on Hard Knocks for a month in August.
True. But would you agree, because we brought up the top brands in the NFL, and with all that said, those teams became what they became because they won.
They won. It's all winning. Yeah. Winning's going to – Hard Knocks, they might know you, but if you don't win, they
don't care.
Yeah, that's right.
So Wade Phillips is with us. We're at Ken's Cutting Shop. And speaking of Dallas, we were talking during the break just about the way, you've been so embraced here because of the success. In Dallas 2.5 years ago, you're winning a playoff game. The next year you're 1-7 and you're out of a job, and now you're a hero here. But being the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, what goes into that? Not just the X's and O's part, but the behind-the-scenes stuff. What is it like to be the coach of the Cowboys?
I think, it's just a major market, and it's not that Houston isn't, but, I mean, it's more like New York than Houston, and that there's a lot of media play in Dallas, and then having all those guys that have won before being on TV, and Michael Irvins and Troy Aikmans and all those people. So I think there's a lot more pressure there as far as that's concerned.
Were you comfortable in such a high-profile environment?
I was for 3 years. That other half I wasn't.
I get it. Well,
we won 33 games in 3 years, so that's 11 wins a year.
That's comfort.
So we were feeling pretty good. But
I guess so.
But it changes quickly.
Did you feel in that year? Was it 1-6? Was that when they fired you? Well, you were 1-7 when they fired you, but. Did you feel underappreciated there because of what you accomplished in the first 3 years?
No, it's all part of it. I mean, it's what the ownership wants to do, is up to them. They own the team. They can decide, hey, you win them all, and you're gone, or you don't win any and you're gone.
Well, think about Marty Schottenheimer, right? Marty Schottenheimer won 14 in San Diego and got fired.
Well,
14-2, yeah.
And Wade, the people that were most critical of you at that 1-7 point were saying that your players quit on you. Did you ever have that sense?
I still think we would have won the rest of them. So that's just my mentality. I mean, they won 6, that year, and the ones they lost were like 3 points. So, I feel like we could have come back and won. We got beat by Green Bay bad in Green Bay.
That was a primetime TV
actually,
game,
Green Bay
too.
was a pretty good team there, and I don't think a lot of people realize that.
Well, whenever we talk about
and Romo was out, so that hurt.
Right. Whenever we talk about the Cowboys, it's always my contention that Jerry Jones is the general manager, Jerry Jones is the head coach, Jerry Jones hires the scouts, Jerry Jones picks the players. I mean, am I going overboard?
He's not the head coach. He does listen to the head coach. The best thing about it is, when you're a head coach, there's only one guy you need to go to. I mean, and a lot of head coaches have to go through the general manager to get to the owner, or, there's some kind of, this guy does this, and this guy picks the draft, and that guy, the coach only does this. Well, there, you just go to the owner and say, hey, he's the general manager, say, hey, we need this, or we want this guy, or those kind of things. So, I don't have any regrets as far as my relationship with Jerry Jones.
But all the other owners hire football people who are experts to do their job, and they delegate. He's the only owner who considers himself a football guy himself. And just my opinion, I think it's a fatal flaw in the organization.
Well, yeah, that's your opinion. So I would just leave it at that.
But it's you have to admit it's a pretty unique situation.
Yeah, of course, Al Davis did it for a long time.
But he was also a head coach in the league.
And Paul Brown, way back. I mean, there's guys that have done it and done well. So it's it's the way he does business and the way he does things, and they won there. So you got to. You got to go for that.
And Wade Phillips is with us. And before we let you go, with all the stuff that's gone down with the bounties and Greg Williams, is that going to change the way coaches coach? Is that going to really change the game with what the NFL is trying to do?
Oh, it doesn't coach the way I coach because we've always coached it the right way. I mean, we play football, and I played football until, after college. So, but you play hard, you play as good as you can play. You certainly don't go out to try to hurt anybody on the other team. I believe that maybe I'm naive or whatever, but I've always coached that way. Hey, go out and play as hard as you can. Let them know that you're physical. Let them know that you're gonna, you're not gonna get run over. But to go out and try to intentionally hurt a guy on another team, is just. It's something I would never coach.
Are you alarmed at all at all the things that have come out over the last 3 to 5 years that have?
The thing that bothers me is people say, "Well, okay, he was doing it, so everybody was doing it," and that's not true. Mm-hmm. I've never done it, and so, and I've never been around a team that did it. So I just.
Well, but what I'm asking about is the bigger picture about player safety.
Well,
and so much we've learned over the last few years that we didn't know before. Has it changed your opinion at all of the game?
Well, I think the commissioner really, I know they got lawsuits and stuff, but he's the guy that's been behind all this to try to help in those situations and make it a safer game. And they. I mean, I don't know how many, $1 million or $2 million worth of fines they've had in the last couple of years because of player safety and making the players aware of safety. So I think they're trying to do the right thing. It is a physical game. It is a violent game. But there's a right way to do it, and I think the league is trying to do that.
And before we let you go, and back to the Greg Williams stuff briefly, since you've been a coordinator and a head coach for so long, and you say this isn't something that happens everywhere, so when you heard the audio that was on ESPN and of Greg Williams, what were your first thoughts when you heard that?
Well, I mean, it made me sick. I just don't believe in that. So it's something that's completely against what I believe in, and I knew it wasn't right, certainly, and I think that's where you go.
Does that affect the way you look at that team and what it accomplished?
No. No, I don't know that they took it to heart and did it. I mean, I can't say that, somebody getting up and saying, hey, you ought to do this, meant the players were doing that. And I think a lot of them would say that themselves because I would imagine a lot of them went up and said, hey, I don't feel right doing that. And I'm sure some of the other coaches that were there said, hey, you don't need to do what you just play the game the way you play it.
Do you think some of the things Coach Williams was saying are actually commonplace in the NFL?
No. That's what I'm saying. I've been around just 36 years, and we've never talked about things like that. So hurting another player.
I mean, but clearly, though, since you're all in the same fraternity of coaches there, you know each other. Did you ever know him to be doing this sort of stuff over the course of the years?
No, it surprised me that was happening, and that's why it surprised me because not a lot of people were doing, or I don't think many people were doing anything like that. So that's why it's surprising.
And we've heard nothing but great things over the years, both on and off the field, about Greg Williams. So I mean, like a lot of us, when we heard that audio, we're pretty shocked.
Okay.
That's Wade Phillips, everybody, the defensive coordinator of the Texans. Let's hear it for Wade.
Thanks,
I really wish all our listeners could have been in this room the last 30 seconds.
All right, so we're at Ken's Cutting Shop. Thank you, Coach. Appreciate it. Coach is going to get us fade, and we got the Weiner line next. Stay there.
Hey, it's Laura Reynolds for Allied Hypnosis. Go online to learn more at alliedhypnosis.com. See what Dr. Marty